Greetings and welcome to the Nonprofit Marketing Workshop. My name is Matthew Van Rooyen. I'm a social entrepreneur and the founder of Hona. Hona's mission is to empower vulnerable people with solutions that allow them to rise above their poverty, and we create and implement innovative poverty eradication programs in South Asia that contribute to the preservation of human dignity. We prioritize the improvement of and access to education, and we're guided by a principle of social entrepreneurship and believe that breaking the cycle of poverty starts with tangible, life-changing opportunities. I'm also the owner of Faith Branding, a full-service website development and branding agency that specifically caters to nonprofit organizations. And today we're going to break down nonprofit marketing in a short 7-part series that will explain either how to get started or how to improve your marketing strategy. But first, I'd like to talk about the definition of nonprofit marketing. Activities and strategies employed by a nonprofit organization that are designed to spread the message of the organization, as well as to solicit donations and calls for volunteers. Nonprofit marketing involves the creation of logos, slogans, and copy, as well as the development of a media campaign to expose the organization to an outside audience. A nonprofit organization should approach marketing in the same way as a for-profit business. Many nonprofit organizations struggle with the concept of marketing themselves and their missions. It seems too sales-centric, too fueled by money, and they ask, is it slimy to apply marketing to nonprofits? And my answer is definitely not. Get the most out of your nonprofit marketing efforts by having a well-organized and strategic marketing plan. And today I'm going to walk you through 7 easy steps that will help guide you, improve your messaging, and create your nonprofit marketing plan. Step 1, perform an organization self-assessment. The first step in any proactive marketing plan is to assess the current state of marketing at your organization. Take a step back and discover what's actually occurring or not occurring at your nonprofit. Let's define your audience, or even audiences. Okay, and in order to determine your audience, you first need to determine your constituents. And your constituents are who you are supporting and serving. Next, we're going to discuss creating a list of everyone your organization comes into contact with. People who visit your cause, folks who have joined a newsletter list from your website, people who have never even heard of you but their friends have. This list will help you determine what you should be saying to them, as well as when and how. Think about how you treat your audiences. How do you treat your audiences when they call or email you? How often do you send fundraising appeals or information or updates? What other types of communication are you sending? What recognition do you offer donors for their generosity? Okay? Next, we're going to discuss mapping your messages. Now that you have taken stock of who you're talking to, map out what you've been saying to them, such as, what's your tagline? Do you have a mission and vision statement? What's your elevator pitch? If you met someone in an elevator who had never heard of your organization, how would you describe your impact during that 30-second ride? And who wrote your messages? Was it a consultant, your executive director, a communications intern who had a snappy catchphrase? Next, let's determine how effective and consistent your messages have been. There are 2 quick ways to understand where your organization stands on this front. First, ask 2 volunteers and 2 staff members, what does our organization do? How are we different? And then ask a few of your supporters these same 2 questions. Hearing any varying opinions may be eye-opening. If everyone seems to be on the same page, are they repeating what you think is your organization's true identity? Okay. Now we're going to define your channels. And what channels are, which communication channels do you use, and how often? One is a website. 2 is your social media, like your Facebook, Twitter, blogs. 3 is paid advertising, like Google AdWords or online banners or even print. And then communications, like newsletter, e-newsletter, direct mail. And then you've got special events, brochures, and of course, annual reports. Now it's time for analysis. As fun as gathering all of this data has been, it'll not do you much good unless you put it to use. Now you should evaluate the quality and effectiveness of your marketing outreach. Some of your research may drive these discussions, but here are a few basic questions to consider. Are your messages consistent? Are your communication materials how you want them to be? What would you change? Does the way your organization perceive itself match the way others see it? Are your communications heavily weighted on fundraising versus other types of outreach? Does your tagline differentiate you from other organizations that focus on similar issues? Were there any audiences you hadn't considered or spoken to directly prior to this fact finding? Step 2, setting goals and strategies. A properly organized nonprofit marketing plan supports itself like a pyramid. For each goal, there are objectives. Every objective has strategies, and each strategy has tactics. However, all too often the terms goal, objective, strategy, and tactic are used interchangeably. And plainly put, they aren't the same. And the resulting lack of precision can be problematic. So let's break these down. First is goals. Goal is a statement of being for a plan. While the completion of a goal signifies the end of your plan, the objectives, strategies, and tactics are the means to that end. Secondly is objectives, and objectives are more focused and specific. The best formulated objectives express results as measurable outcomes. Think in terms of the awareness, attitude, or action that you hope to invoke. Often there are multiple objectives in support of a single goal. Meaningful objectives start with action verbs and have 4 parts, and they should first identify a specific audience being addressed, 2, state a measurable outcome, 3, set an attainment level, and 4, set a time frame. Now, third is strategies, and strategies are where the rubber meets the road. Rarely is one strategy enough to fully accomplish an objective. Likewise, it is not unusual for a single strategy to serve multiple objectives. And then lastly is tactics, and tactics are the specific tools you use to implement your strategies. News releases, brochures, media pitches, e-newsletters, blogs, websites, surveys, focus groups, and videos are some examples that spring to mind. It is up to you to decide exactly which tactics are needed to successfully implement the chosen strategies. Here are a couple of tips to help you in this process. First, I suggest you choose 2 primary goals and 2 secondary goals to focus on. Having too many goals distracts you and you'll end up achieving none. I also recommend using the SMART approach. Make your objectives specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Step 3, determine your unique value. What is the foundation of your fundraising messaging and nonprofit outreach? Your point of differentiation? What makes your nonprofit the only one of its kind? Here's how to determine your nonprofit's unique value proposition. First, take a journalistic approach to determining your onlyness, the definition of which is the quality or state of being, the only one of an indicated or implied kind or category. Let's break it down with 5 W's and an H. 1. Who are your constituents? 2. What is your issue area? 3. Where are your constituents located? 4. When do they need you? 5. Why? are you important? And then our H6, and how are you different? Get an insider's opinion. Call a volunteer and ask why he or she is involved with your organization and not Joe's other advocacy group down the street. Your view of your differentiator might be the way off from what your supporters see. 3 is complete this phrase. Our nonprofit is the only blank that blank. This gets right to the core of why your organization exists in the first place. Who are you serving that no one else does? And how are you doing it differently? So, to close step 3, use your onlyness statement to help you make decisions. Will a new program align with your statement? How can you position your organization in fundraising campaigns? Step 4, craft your message. Now, you know where you'd like to go. How do you get there? Appeal to your audience's values. Let's discuss crafting your call to action with a big emphasis on action. Your call to action is the pivotal piece of your message, so it's important to get it right. An effective call to action has 5 necessary attributes. First, be highly specific. If you say we are planning to end the orphan crisis in India, a person might respond like, I can't solve that entire problem. So instead, focus on a very specific action such as forward this email to 5 of your friends to encourage them to learn more about sponsoring a child's education. Number 2, be feasible. Your action needs to be very easy to do so that it doesn't overwhelm potential supporters. When somebody does something small, they're more likely to do something larger later on. So it's not appropriate to ask a one-time $10 donor to donate $1,000 to your capital campaign. So personalize your messaging. Number 3, have a first priority. Not everybody is ready to donate or volunteer. So think about how you can build your community of potential supporters and about enticing ways to get a person's email address. Number 4, be free of barriers. Watch somebody go through the steps involved in your call to action and see where they get hung up. If there are unnecessary steps, and if everything is easy to understand, honor your audience's time by making everything as straightforward and as quick as possible. And then, of course, number 5, be filmable. Your audience needs to be able to visualize what they will be doing. If they can't picture themselves doing it, they aren't likely to do it. So, for example, it's pretty easy to picture yourself forwarding an email or volunteering a few hours a month. You need to do more than engage. You need to inspire. So whether you're after supporter dollars or volunteer engagement, inspiration is the driving force behind taking action. Here are a few quick, actionable tips for building passion for your organization. 1. Tell your organization's founding story once a year. Communications guru Andy Goodman calls this part of the sacred bundle of stories a profound reminder of the deep value and moral struggle that gave rise to your organization's existence. Number 2, have a cultivation strategy and a calendar. Send emails to donors that thank them and report back on how you've spent their money. Number 3, ask your donors for their feedback and opinions on a regular basis. And use their advice when it's appropriate. It shows that you're listening. And number 4, offer periodic live chats or phone-in briefings with your CEO. This is a staple of major donor fundraising, and surprisingly it's absent from the online giving scene. And lastly, number 5, offer real-life glimpses into the life of your organization. Your supporters expect authenticity, which is arguably the paramount value in marketing communications. Step 5, choose your tools. We're all about nonprofits becoming online fundraising and marketing superheroes, and every superhero, even the planner types like you, need a utility belt of resources to get through the day-to-day tasks and the tight spots you might run into along the way. So first, we're going to determine your online and offline marketing mix. There's no single recipe for success when it comes to determining a nonprofit marketing mix. It'll depend on what makes the most sense for your audiences, including constituents, donors, volunteers, and advocates. Some examples of online marketing channels are website, social media like Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, paid advertising such as banner ads or Google AdWords, PR placements on websites and blogs, special events pages, online donation page, email outreach, e-newsletter, advocacy alerts, and fundraising appeals. Some examples of offline marketing channels are printed collateral, such as brochures, annual reports, or direct mail, newsletter, paid advertising, such as outdoor or print, PR placements on radio, TV, or in newspapers and magazines, and special events. So in closing of step 5, I have a tip. To stay audience-centric while you develop your marketing mix, gather information about your audience's communication preferences. You might think most of your supporters are strictly offline or exclusively online. Don't assume, get to know them. Step 6, define your budget, timeline, and resources. First, set your budget. Now that you've determined the right mix of channels for your outreach, decide how much money you'll need for producing your marketing materials, email and offline outreach expenses, as well as paid media such as advertising or search engine and social media marketing like Google AdWords. You can choose to track your budget by quarter or by month, depending on the level of detail you need. Secondly, create a marketing calendar. A marketing calendar is one of the best ways to coordinate your marketing efforts. Your calendar should include all of the action items needed to successfully execute your marketing plan. Start by listing your major marketing tentpoles, such as a website redesign or fundraising campaigns and events, and then fill in all of the tasks you must accomplish to make them happen. Include any regularly occurring outreach, such as newsletters or member updates. Lastly, assign roles. Knowing who's responsible for what increases productivity and avoids confusion and overlapping efforts. Things may be a bit messy in the beginning, but with time, team members will know their roles and what daily tasks they're responsible for. Step 7, measure and track your results. In our last step, we will discuss how to measure and track your results. A marketing plan that sits on the shelf is not particularly useful. You should regularly review your results to verify that your goals have been met or determine if new strategies are in order. To round out your marketing plan, include the following. First, a timeline. How often will you review your plans? Monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, or annually? Second, metrics. How are you going to measure your success? Consider website analytics, e-newsletter subscriptions, and number of volunteers that have signed up. These metrics will be defined by what you want to accomplish. Lastly is evaluation. Remember, the primary research we accomplished in step 1, perform an organization's self-assessment. Revisit those audiences and see how your marketing activities have changed or improved your organization's situation. In closing of the series, remember, first, be true to yourself and your audience. Second, Analyze your past outreach to discover who truly makes up your distinct audiences. Third, celebrate your uniqueness by sharing your point of differentiation with your fans. 4, appeal to your audience's values with messages that are connecting, rewarding, actionable, and memorable. 5, don't just engage with your fans, inspire them. 6, measure your messaging to achieve your goals and tweak your strategies. All the best wishes on your new marketing strategy, and thank you so very much.